This is great. My favorite of your songs is on here.
Which one?
I'll tell you later.
All right. Mine's on there is Cellophane.
Cellophane? That's a great song.
Is that on that one? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Cellophane Underwear.
Oh, good God, that's funny.
I think that's a great place to start is with Cellophane Underwear.
All
Oh,
right.
boy.
I know.
All right, this is the Seven Felix podcast. I'm with the Lawn Sausages, well, two members, Jimmy Barrett and Paul Hebert. Of
Where
the
am
Lawn-
I? Where am I?
And you guys have your 30th anniversary show,
That's correct.
Yes, coming up the 25th, right?
the 25th.
25th, yeah.
Yep.
30. So you guys got together in 1990.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. That's when everything started, you know, that's the inception.
What were your lives like in 1990?
Oh, boy.
That was kind of a fun stretch.
Yeah.
There was a lot
I-
going on. There was
didn't
a lot
have-
of local music being pushed.
Besides the job and stuff, I didn't really have a lot of else going on.
I had 5 kids. I was very happy to join them.
I can imagine
Yeah.
you were. Well, you didn't have kids yet.
No.
I know that.
No, wasn't married yet. And yeah, just kind of, I don't know.
It's
It's hard to think back that long ago, you know?
It makes sense listening to your music that you guys started in 1990 because Nirvana was huge. And I mean, you don't sound exactly like Nirvana, but you're definitely influenced by Nirvana with the sound, right? Like the grungy, garage bandy.
Yeah. I mean, definitely
Loud.
goes back
We
to
definitely
the
have an affection for garage rock.
Yeah.
Our initial thing was the Stooges and the MC5.
Yeah,
That was a big
it probably goes
impetus
back to
for
the
us.
60s garage rock and
And carried into that era.
Okay.
Stooges and punk and
Were you always called the Lawn Sausages?
we were.
Yes,
From day one. So you set the tone.
we had one alternate name.
What was
On
that?
occasion, when we wanted to try out new songs and we didn't want to get killed, we were the 3-foot subs.
The 3-foot subs.
Yes.
Okay. So that's like the testing ground.
We foolishly played a club in South Troy, and the guy said, tonight, free 3-foot subs. And all these bikers wanted a sandwich, and they were PO. They were mad. They were
Oh, God.
really mad.
Yeah,
That was
Jimmy came up with the name. And honestly, at first, I think, oh, that's a horrible name. you know?
It gets your attention immediately,
Yeah,
though.
it
When
does.
you say it, everybody knows like to think about it for a second.
Artie and
They're
I
like,
were,
that is a name.
Artie and I were working up in Pleasantdale on a driveway doing paving, and it was really hot. And this people had a sprinkler on with a bunch of kids, and this kid ran right through a dog drop, and he's jumping around on one foot, and his friends were going, "You stepped in a lawn sausage." Hence the name. Artie kept it. Artie goes, "Listen, if we ever start a band, that's the name." I go, really?
It's a
He
great
goes,
name.
Oh
It's a
yeah, that's
great
the name. So
It fits you guys perfectly.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
looking.
Sadly, it does.
I was looking at like some of the song names because I thought it's interesting because I first heard you guys about halfway through that 30 years, about 15 years ago.
I think it was in the Berg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at the old daily. What was it called at that point?
Oh, that was fun.
Mahoney's or
Oh, Mahoney's.
something.
I did not know what I was walking into.
Most people don't.
Most people know what they're walking out of.
I just tell them they're going to have a reaction either way.
Well, it's,
You know what I mean?
At the time, there wasn't really a way to Google you guys.
Yeah,
No.
that's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like, there's no way to really know what. I knew the name was funny,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that the songs were going to be what they were.
Oof.
But now, like, if you Google you guys, it's just a list. Yeah. Guess which one's my favorite?
Let me think. I don't know.
Cow tipping.
No, that's a good one, though. That's a good one. My favorite is Whacking Away My Tears. Because I think it's
You love a love song.
I
don't you,
do.
John?
I
Yeah.
do love a love
Yeah,
song.
That's a love song with a happy end. Maybe a couple.
This is what the whole show is like every time.
It's a funny song.
We have no idea.
Artie sings that, or Vienna as we call him.
Yeah, he sings
wrote
it
the
beautifully.
Lyrics,
That's one of the funniest things I've ever
incredibly
heard in my
funny
life.
lyrics.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
our true only like kind of 50s ballad style as far as music.
I
The
think
lyrics,
that's why I like it. It even somehow it draws your attention in a show where everything draws your attention because it's like, oh, we're gonna totally change the mood here, but still keep the same vibe. I guess.
True, and that's got normal music, and then you start listening to the lyrics, you're like, wait a minute.
It's just funny.
I love
Funny
that song.
song.
Well, the funny thing, even now, so this many years later, I mean, we still will laugh at lyrics while we're playing them. Playing the song.
We all have favorites.
I mean,
What are your favorites?
My favorite is Paul's. It's called Liposuction Mama, you better put that cheesecake down. My favorite line is, you got those thighs are rubbing blues. For which he was almost beat up once by a woman that thought he wrote the song about her.
Really?
Yeah, really.
well, yeah, not everybody loves it. I was just trying to, just be dumb, and I think I came across pretty well on that.
You didn't have to work that hard.
No, I didn't.
No.
I mean, I can't. I feel like in talking, I only really know you two of the band, but I can't imagine any of you guys directing any of those songs at individuals.
No,
Because,
no.
like as people, neither of you seem like that kind of.
Well, that's why it's so cool.
Yeah.
Because they trust us. They think we're normal.
Well, that's back when liposuction first became popular. You didn't really know what it was.
Oh, yeah.
My idea was to write a song where the lady goes in and ends up leaving with the doctor who did the operation, but I kind of dumbed it down a little bit quicker than that. But it's got a nice blues feel to it. So
When did you guys start dressing up? Like right away?
Right away.
right away, that
First
was
show, we
yeah.
had, well, we had to because the band was conceived in a rather odd way. We were a radio show, Paul, I and Artie Cole, Kaleidoscope, and we had a run-in with WRPI, and we were thrown off the air unfairly. Then we went to arbitration and got it back.
Why were you thrown off?
Well, because they said we didn't put our paperwork in after 29 years of doing it. They said, now we've rectified it. We've healed the wounds since then. But we realized that we wanted to do something else. We'd done that a long time. So we got our show back, did one, and then we quit rather than be fired. And at our record store, which was open at the time, all the local bands would come in and complain about how there's no place to play and nobody will hire us and there's nobody out there that wants to go to a show. And we told them they were a bunch of whiners. And that was a really good band called Tina Ward and the Matter Babies. So Artie bet a case of
And they
beer
were a
with
great
them.
band, actually.
Yeah, he bet
A case of what?
a case of beer that we could write a CD or cassette at the time in 1 week, put it out, book a show, and fill a club. And that's exactly what we did. We called everybody we knew. We bought amplifiers, and I bought a keyboard. The hardest part of the night was trying to figure out how to plug everything in because we had no idea. Paul had played a little guitar, and we didn't realize how little till he started playing. And he and this kid named what was our guitar player's name? Blood
Sausage.
Blood Sausage. He was incompetent at best, and we had a drummer Wayne because our drummer Charlie had a problem with his ankle. His foot swelled up, so he now his head swells up, but back then it was his foot. So they booked us at Billy's on Broadway.
Well, which was Newtown Tavern
Yeah,
at the time. Which
yeah.
I think Peck's is that where Peck's is?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Broadway and
Yeah.
right next to the bank there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
our.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
the admission, there was no admission. We decided to raise money for some people that had a fire through the fire department. So there was no admission, but we had a friend of ours who was a big biker, went to the door, and he had one of those baby training toilets. And if you left the show was packed. People just wanted to see us fall on our faces, which we did. And they jammed this place. And the deal was, if you left in the first hour, it was $5, $4, 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah, free to get in, pay to get out.
Yeah, we made almost all our
we
money
might
that
try
first
that
hour.
again, actually.
We made a lot of money that first hour. And we played our hits of the day when one was called Life Sucks.
Yeah.
We had one that Paul did called I Hate School.
Mhm.
Artie did a really nice one called Scope and Hose at the Funeral Home. Kind of a really sensitive, nice,
Well, yes.
it was a beautiful song. It just, as always, a lot of our songs are misconstrued and just,
I
really
bet.
misinterpreted.
Yes.
With names like Trailer Park Debutante.
That was.
Yeah,
I mean,
beautiful
that's
song.
got to be a really sad song about
It is.
a
It
tough
is sad.
life.
It's very sad the way I sing it. Oh yeah.
So you're telling me
Ugh.
that you guys originated basically as a calling out someone's bullshit.
Oh,
You-
absolutely.
Like it was basically
Yeah.
you're just whining. This is hard. I'm
They
not
weren't the
denying it's
only-
hard, but you can do it.
The
You
bet
can-
was with them, but we started to just go play all these places with absolutely no idea what we were doing. And
Yeah, our song structure in the beginning was a little loose.
shaky.
Shaky. Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't
we were avant-garde.
traditional song
Avant-garde,
structure.
avant-garde.
Avant-garde. Avant something.
You
So
know?
you guys must have met on RPI then, and on WRPI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
We knew each other from,
You went to high school with
Bird.
Artie.
yeah, and
Oh.
yeah, so RPI, and you were used to sell records
Right at the school.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I bought a record from
At
him.
the
one-
school.
Yeah, he'd be in the student union selling records. He'd rent a table or
How
whatever.
long have you been selling records?
God, I don't know. Probably 35 years.
Everybody I know goes to your store.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
It's a great store.
I love my customers. We got great people come down there.
River Street Beat Shop. I think it's like one of the best record stores I've ever been to. One of the reasons why is because I started listening to records in college, and at the time it wasn't that popular. It was kind of becoming a thing, and if you found a shop, people were a little snooty about it. You know, there were some people who were a little snooty about like what records to buy, and
Oh.
they didn't create an atmosphere
Very
where it felt
elitist, very
comfortable.
elitist.
Yeah, where I felt comfortable being like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I don't understand any of this. I just think they're cool. But you go to your store and you talk to you for like 5 minutes, and then you got like 10 recommendations. Scout. But yeah, you've given me some of the best albums I have
Well,
in there.
That's because I like people to listen to music.
Yeah.
That's an easy thing for me. You know, we all are music collectors and freaks. I mean,
Yeah, we're definitely music fanatics.
Artie runs this incredible radio station now called Radio X, which is webbed and streamed. And he just came in third in the Gazette poll for local music places, stations.
That's awesome.
It's the only one to ever get entered or do anything. It's that good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's
That's
a different
really
outlet.
cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So
And
you
it-
and Artie went to school together?
yeah.
And you
Went to Lansingburg.
that's
and,
how you-
gosh, I know
Who
him
was
since we were
originally in the band at the beginning?
Well, it was the three of us.
Artie, Jimmy, and I.
Then we had a friend named Murph who worked at RPI,
used to live down the road
who
here,
was
actually.
affectionately known as Sunset Pig Sausage. And he had
Wait,
his
what were
own-
your names?
I was Jimmy Dean.
Yeah,
Okay, that
and
makes
still,
sense.
and
That's
I'm
Jones.
Jones. Yeah.
Artie was Vienna.
We used
And
to
then
have
we
blood.
added people. We brought in Charlie, our drummer, is Footlong.
Yeah, he's still our drummer. He's, the
No-
original
nothing
drummer.
could be less true, but his nickname is Footlong Sausage. And Brian Gilchrist, who owns the Ale House, was in the band. And he was called
Big Link. Right?
Big Link
Yeah.
Sausage. There was a few others. And then Rob Skane joined. He was Bittersweet. He's only quit 6 times, so that's pretty good.
You had a lot of people on stage last time I saw you.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
like a saxophone player.
That's
like
Luke
another.
McNamee, who
Yeah.
is a part-time sausage. He's a sub sausage. He plays under the name Horny Sausage. And we have a wonderful.
No, and it's great. He comes in and plays a lot, and it's great to have someone like that who's a great player.
because he
and,
loves to play. He
just wants to have
nuts.
fun
Yeah.
and add some crazy
We
sax to
also,
the.
we also have an incredible friend in the band who we lost our lovely bass player, who was Patio Sausage. He had to move to Florida, do some goof up selling a house, and the other house wasn't ready. So he moved to Key West,
Mm.
and he's still in the band. If he comes back, he's going to play. But he is down there. So our dear friend, John Brierly from the Vava Voodoos, said he'd help out. He's been playing bass ever since. He's a good musician. Plays keyboards, guitar. He has a great band of his own. He's wanted to be in this band for 10 years. He saw us.
And most of us have wanted to get out for 10 years.
even as we speak.
Then we got Mark Emanation on guitar.
Who?
Also, Mark, remember that guy? He's to the right of you.
I thought
Not
he's the guy
now,
that
but-
carries. You mean the guy that carries Charlie's drums in?
Might be him, yeah.
He plays guitar.
Yeah.
Clue me in, will you? I didn't know that. I thought he was.
So he's stage
I
left.
thought he was Charles Clifford's
He'd be
roadie.
yeah, I think he's normally stage left, right? We kind of been
There's a-
changing.
He must be really far left. because I've never seen the band
Yeah, I guess usually the two lead guys lately have been playing.
so good together. Mark and Robbie are killer.
I'm trying to put
Which
a
we didn't
face to
think
these
would
names.
work. We didn't. Hardy said this will absolutely work. And I go, you got a heavy blues guy, and then you got a punk rocker, like a New York Johnny Thunders type of guy. They play so good together, it's ridiculous.
I feel like the thing that I get out of the Lawn Sausage is the times I've seen you guys. It's just you guys are having fun.
Oh yeah,
Well,
You're
that's
just-
the whole idea.
You're just having a fun time, and it's almost like if you don't have a fun time, look at us.
yeah.
That's on you.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, it's completely your fault.
Yeah,
Look
like
how
it-
much fun this is.
Like
Yeah.
if you're a woman there and you see us, you realize that your boyfriend's not the biggest asshole. Well, it's a nice social, we gave that a lot of thought. So we act like assholes, but we're not really.
I know.
Yeah. We're doing some pretty good
I
acting.
tell people
this
when you
past
try to
years.
explain it, it's like a carnival. It's just chaos.
It's
and
impossible.
it's not for everybody.
And actually, we're pretty well rehearsed generally.
Yeah.
Well, we like to get together and laugh and have fun and write stuff.
Well, we have to have the core kind of rehearsed so that everything doesn't spiral totally out of control. Because there is a bit of chaos.
When did you guys put this CD out?
About 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Our engineer is
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, yeah. Around that
Troy
6
is,
months ago.
Troy's coming around. Huh?
he's
Oh, Troy.
Troy.
Troy the guy.
Yeah.
he's incredible.
He's got a sausage name too,
Wait a
right?
minute.
When you
Wait, Troy what?
pole.
Hole.
Does he? Who does
He does sound at the hangar.
Yeah.
Does a lot of other things.
Does he
Plays in bands.
work with Sean Rao a lot?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I've met him. He's a
pretty
really
know,
He
I
produces
think-
Sean.
I haven't really
Yeah.
heard him say this, but he says our qualities are much more subtle than Sean Rao. I'm only kidding.
Sean, who?
Actually, Sean used to go in your store even when he was a kid, right?
I love Sean Rao. He's one of America's most talented singers.
He's
He
another
deserves
one.
everything he's got.
He's another one. There's a couple people who, when somebody says they're interested in seeing a show, I'm like, you gotta go see Sean because
It's my wife's favorite local
Yeah.
performer.
Oh, he's got
He's
such a great voice. It's pretty unique.
His
in it-
storytelling
yes.
is very unique.
The other thing too is like his live performance is so different from his studio albums, and they're both good in completely different
They are
ways.
completely different.
And I think Troy is a big reason for that. I think maybe my guess.
He brings a lot out of people, Troy.
Yeah.
Troy's one of the more intriguing people I've met.
I don't know how
Well,
like the guitar he uses. It's insane looking.
Yeah.
It's with the bass.
Yeah.
I think it's got bass pickups inside the drum, and he's got tape all over it, and he uses the pen to do that crazy
He knows what he's
sound all
doing.
the
He
time.
just knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's nice when folks have a unique sound and not the usual take on things.
He has such a cool voice. He could do like he could be in theater with that voice. Like
Sean?
he could play a bad guy.
Oh, Sean's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really. I was thinking the other day of some of the funniest things that have ever happened to us as a band. I remember one, we were playing with 1313 Mockingbird Lane, maybe the premier garage band of all time around here.
Yeah, they were big.
Opie Callanan and Kim and Dave, these guys were, and Johnny on guitar. They were the first band. We owe a lot to them. They were the first band to really play straight garage
Yeah.
rock, and they were good. So we did a show. They invited us. We did a show with them, and I'll never forget. Artie had on a helmet, football helmet, hardly anything else, really. A little kinky Artie at moments. So we're playing, and he's singing some song, and this big woman, didn't like it, the song. So she goes to the bandstand. She grabs him in the mask. Now, when you get 10 yards for
gosh.
that in football,
That was
and you lose the ball, but we got nothing except a singer on the ground, and she kneeled on him and started pummeling him.
They were wrestling,
And
literally.
he kept singing because the microphone,
I'm pretty
the
sure
mic
there was
fell, it fell into the mask, and he kept singing. He didn't stop. What a trooper.
That seems
It
like
was-
him.
That same show, the idiot, he bought sausage because we're the lawn sausage.
Yeah,
And we threw it at the audience, not realizing they were frozen.
and they might throw it back.
So they started throwing them. They started throwing them back, and they hurt.
Yeah,
I
they were,
bet
They were
frozen.
frozen link sausage. They were hitting us all over the place. And Robbie He had like a very expensive guitar. He had to turn his back on him and duck down.
How long ago was that?
Oh God, that was at the original Valentine's
Maybe
downstairs.
late
That was
late 90s.
I
I'm
miss
not-
Valentine's.
That was a great place. Saw a
prior
lot
to
of
that.
great
We
shows there.
played Bogies before that. It was Bogies was fun. That was about half a mile
A lot
away.
of those shows, I'm guessing, we've lost track of time. Mid 90s to late 90s.
Yeah,
Because I think our first CD didn't come out till 2000. Again, these are guesstimates to some extent. Valentine's a bunch. A lot of times in Troy. Best Western in Troy was a
Oh, good
hotel,
God.
which is now an RPI dormitory, I think, or housing.
Yeah, it
right
is. It
next
is.
door to the
It was
Uncle Sam Bowling
It
Alley.
was the best
Oh.
Western.
Oh,
for
I
a
We
know.
while.
used to play there. We used to do double bills with folks, and
Yeah,
we
we
had
had
some
nice-
pretty good shows there.
We had a show there where the owner gave us $250 to play, and halfway through the third song, Arthur went flying through the air. There were 3 New Jersey women at a table in gowns, and he dove through the air and took the whole table, broke the table in half,
Yeah, like one of those
and
big
drinks
round,
all over everybody.
kind
Well,
of
the crowd
wedding,
loved it. They're screaming
wedding
and
room
yelling.
tables.
And the 3 ladies, God bless them, laughed their rear ends up. They laughed. However,
That
the
was
owner
a-
didn't laugh. So at the end of the night,
Yeah, we broke even, I think.
he
right?
said, "Here's your check," and then I think he tore it up. He said, "We're even." That's what I paid for that table recently. So, the price of stardom.
How long? How long ago was that?
That would have been a little bit earlier. That would have been 94, 95,
Yeah.
96, something like that.
I'm curious what's changed
Nothing.
between 1990 and 2000.
Not a thing with us.
Nothing.
No,
Have
we
the
still
venues
write.
changed? Is like the play the
I think they're better.
yeah.
I think they're a
Yeah.
little more accepting of craziness. I think there's a lot of clubs. You know, they had this fantastic. I'm going to get this wrong, and I don't mean to. It's called the Dark Series or something like that on Thursday nights, and they have them up at is it Bicycle Annie's or Desperate Annie's up in
Not sure.
Saratoga, and it was at the River Street Pub, and these shows had 6 bands from all over the place that would play a half hour, and they were the wackiest, craziest
Oh,
bands.
should you tell them? Because you're better at stories than me. Maybe the only time we played Saratoga and
Oh, that was a beautiful night.
Where
We got a
in
gig.
Saratoga?
play with Rocky Velvet that
I
night.
was driving around-
What place was that?
That
Did
was
I lose
called.
my headset.
It was an Irish name. It was. I don't remember because they took the sign down. Well, we played this bar.
That was
Whatever.
in Rocky
O'Brien's.
Velvet.
O'Brien's.
Oh, Brian's. Like,
So I'm up in Saratoga one day measuring some work, and I see the tavern, and I went in, and the owner was there, and I said to him, "Hey, you guys doing any booking? You got any bands coming?" He goes, "Yeah, we do. Why? What do you got?" I said, "Well, I'm in a band. It's a lot of fun called the Lawn Sausages." And he goes, "Oh my God, we've heard all about you guys. You want to play here?" And I said, "Yeah, we'd love to play here." And we got another great band called Rocky Velvet that'll open with us. And he goes, "How much?" And I said, $600. And without blinking, which was $500 more than we'd made in our whole career. So the guy said, "Yeah, let's do it." All right. So we went up on it. We played Artie's on a Friday night, and we played pretty well. And then Saturday, we had to go up, and we set up. We went up into this, through the thing, and up these stairs, and it was a small ballroom with a balcony and a bar on the level. And it was a good stage. It was nice. It was nice. So we set up, and then we set up Rocky Velvet, and they were a trio.
actually, we put our costumes on it in front of the stage.
Well, we had no
that
choice.
night.
You know, so Rocky
We had no
Velvet,
place
yeah.
to go, so we're like, I guess we got to change here.
And Carl Brennan was completely naked and made a lot of new friends. So we got dressed right in front of everybody because there was no place to go. So we start to play our set, and oh my God, they hated us. These kids, they thought
they did pretty much.
This kid walks up and says to us, "Hey dudes, why don't you do some good stuff like Dave or the Allman Brothers?" And Artie said, "Don't bother me right now. Don't bother." And Artie's got on
That had to be like early
St.
2000s.
Augustine's
Yes, girls
St. Augustine's girls
school
plaid
outfit.
skirt about 8 inches above his knees because that's all he could barely get it on. And he's got some god awful wig and who knows what else. So the guy walks away. Then he comes back up. "I mean it. Why don't you play some good shit?" And then Artie says to him, one more. So the kid starts up for the third time, and I said to him, hey, come here a minute. Come here. Where do you go to school? And he says, I go to Skidmore. And I said, well, listen, you're the frat, right? Yeah. I graduated tonight, right?
Scout, get down.
Yeah. I said, do you want to be remembered at every get-together with your fraternity for the next 50 years as the guy that got beat up by that whack job in a girl's school uniform? And the guy goes, that doesn't sound very good. And I said, so buy him a beer and shut up. And he did. He turned out to be a nice kid. He went over, bought us both a beer, and came back, and he started laughing. He got it. But he was about to get it anyway.
Saratoga's pretty hermetically sealed.
Well, that isn't even
Like,
that isn't even the worst part of the story. So I go downstairs because we're still playing. I run out off the stage. I go downstairs. I think the man's name was Frank. I go, hey, Frank. And here I am with this ridiculous outfit in the midst of all these college kids downstairs. And they're pushing and shoving. There's real trouble brewing. Not going to be good. So I said, hey, Frank, that band with us, they got to go to a rockabilly festival in Connecticut tomorrow. They'd like to head out tonight. Do you think there's a chance we could get paid? He goes, yeah, of course. You brought plenty of people. So he hands me the 600, right? I go upstairs, and they're sitting over in the corner. And I said to Jay, it was Jay. I said, Jay, take this money. Tell Graham and Ian to get out of here now, right now. What do you mean? Just leave. Go down the back stairs and get out. So they run out the door. If we have any of your PA gear, we'll bring it down to the Ale House later. So we're playing on, and then I said to Carl, get off the stage and put your bass and your amp in the car. We had a big van. So he walks out down the stairs in the back. Then we had the drummer stuck around a little bit, and then we had everybody else one at a time leaving. Finally, the only ones up there were me and Artie singing with one little vocal amp. Paul's laughing. He's the next to last one to leave. Then we hear all hell break loose downstairs, and they knocked the door down. They come crashing into the ballroom, swinging.
Yeah, the bar
punching.
got raided that night. So
Oh, yeah. So
by the
they
time we got back to Troy at the Ale House, we're kind of watching the news. They're like, oh, yeah, that bar just got raided. I'm like, oh, wow, we got out of there just in time.
But remember, we looked at the sign when they did the TV news. It said tonight, lawn sausages and Rocky Valve.
Never bad press.
Oh, it was a mess.
but you got paid.
We got paid and we
Exactly.
got out of it. We hold ass. That was not pretty. Not a pretty thing at all.
See, Saratoga's an interesting.
I love it.
I like it too, but like for music, I feel like they play what they play.
Oh, it's very
very hard to get there from outside of it.
Oh no, yeah, they're not welcoming.
Yeah, and the people who play there don't tend to leave there.
Nope, the folkies go to Lena's and the
Yeah.
jazzers
Yep.
go to Maple. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There is no really good. The Metro has pretty good stuff, but I don't think there's a flat out.
And for years, we didn't know we could actually play out of Troy. We thought, remember we crossed the river the one time and played Albany, and then we played there
Where?
again. And
We one time played 14 cities in one day.
What?
It was a benefit for
on
Make
a
a Wish.
on a flatbed truck.
We got a flatbed truck with a generator, and it was cold out. We got on this thing, and we went up to Melrose. Then we drove down to Scaticoke, playing slowly, and then
Well, Spiegeltown, yeah.
Spiegeltown, then down through Pleasantdale,
Did Waterford.
through the Berg, into Waterford, down to Cohoes, then through Maplewood,
Manans.
Waterville. We hit the tip of Latham, right up at the top by where you go to the Pizza Hut used to be. We went up there a little bit and back down. And then we hit Albany and East Greenbush, North Greenbush,
Yeah.
14.
You just
Unfortunately,
kept playing on a flatbed truck.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
we'd show up and we'd play like, I don't know, a couple, 2, 3, 4 songs, and
people were going crazy. They
That's
were
cool.
waiting for us.
That's really cool.
The old Two Guys was the best. Guy Buzzy, who had the motorcycle shop, he raised a lot of money for us. He probably had 60 people there drinking beer.
that's right.
And then this poor gentleman, big guy, comes running across the parking lot.
Oh, that was two guys.
Security
there,
guard. And he
which
was-
is now like I think it's
he goes,
Manans.
you can't be here. You got to get out of here. And so we kept
gotta
driving
find-
around him. We're driving the truck around and playing. And he's trying to stop us. Poor man.
That was a long day. Fun, but long.
And then we played
I
at
bet.
Saturday Artie's.
Was it Sunday? Yeah, we got on because one of the news. It's on our Facebook page. There's a little news snippet. I think you were like, "There's no news on." It was a Sunday. There's no big news stories. We'll get them to come there. They actually showed up. We started right across the street from the Ale House, in that big parking lot there. And,
Yeah, and then we went. Oh, you're right. And then we went up the hill.
yeah. So they interviewed us. It might have been Fox at the time. I don't know. It's on that one's on the
forgot about
Facebook
that.
page.
I forgot.
That's great.
Luckily, we used to like videotape and audio tape a lot of stuff. Not that we can really find it now, but it exists. Some of it's finding the light of day, but
A lot of our stuff is best lost.
yes.
Like left.
And we've had some.
Yeah, I just left.
We've had some incredible. We one time did
We tried to lose
a
band members.
14. We did a 14-hour Louie marathon at Billy's on
14
Broadway.
hours?
14 hours.
Well, the
And
first one was about 5, but that was at Newtown, Old
Yeah.
Billy's. Then we did the
one
longer
across
one at
the
in the
hotel.
atrium, right?
Yep.
Did we do the atrium?
Well, we did one where the guitar player, Blood, he was kind of dumb. So we bought him. I was at some garage sale and I saw this sweatsuit, aluminum, that you're not supposed to wear very long. And we put him in and said he looked like a space ranger, right? Well, we didn't know he dehydrated and passed out. He's laying on, we're all through and he's laying on the
Yeah, he
floor.
took like a sip of beer and just kind of fell backward.
We almost killed him,
He came back.
which
though.
actually is good publicity for a band. If you handle it, if you have a good publicist, that can
Exactly.
help.
When did you like? How do you decide on the costumes?
We don't. Everybody does their own.
There's no organization to it.
Once in a while,
Usually,
I
no.
dressed as the Ohio Players once at the Ale House. We had burgundy open V-neck sweaters and blow-up pants
Yeah, there's been a
and wigs. And we had these gold wigs. So once in a while,
There's been a small handful of times where we wore matching or close
we
to
just
matching
played
outfits.
food stock with firemen's helmets.
So it's basically just we got a show, find something,
You got
Yeah.
to wear something.
go to Goodwill.
Like even after the shows, people would be like the next day or the Monday after, they'd go, "Oh, what did everybody wear?" I go, "I really don't remember. I wasn't really paying attention. I mean,
They get mad at us if you don't wear anything.
You have to wear something.
They-
For
yeah.
anybody who's ever gone to your show, if you go and
Absolutely.
you're not wearing something,
Yeah.
we played a Halloween show once, and that was at was it already have that place at the time?
In the Burg.
The old Petar. No, that was the old. I think of it as Petars, but it was a River Street stage, etc. So for Halloween, we decided not to dress up.
Oh, yeah.
Figuring- And some people were disappointed. They're like,
Yeah,
"You're
we
not
got a lot
dressing up." I'm like, "It's Halloween. We dress up all the rest of the time. We're not going to dress
Yeah,
up
why
on
do we have to
Halloween."
get dressed up?
I am
was
dressed
forgot
up.
about that.
This is my daily dress up. This
Is
is what
it?
I look like
Yes.
when I dress up to put on the persona that I go into the real world with.
Is it working?
What? No. What? Is this similar? Is this like what are they? That's a pig mask. It looks like
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's lamb chops.
Somebody told us
Well,
that Guns N' Roses were
It
ripping
looks.
us off.
It looks very similar.
That was very
to
accidental.
Appetite
That
for
was
Destruction.
accidental.
Shockingly accidental. See, we don't get a lot of New York and Boston and California records here. We had never seen that jacket. We thought it was pretty clever. And
Yeah.
apparently, some other groups got it covered that's a lot like it.
If for some reason with the lawn sausage name, our cassette label was called Natural Casings Records, even though we just made cassettes. Well, our first two releases, I think, were the cassettes.
Yeah.
The two cassettes, which would have been our first
Meet the Sausages. was
MEAT.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Then we had Grinding another one out.
grind out another one. When we did the 45 after that?
Yeah. Smoke This Joe Bruno.
Well, no, we had the 45, which
There was another
uh,
cassette in there. Oh,
Schizo and
Oh,
with White Noise as
wait,
a
we had
proper
one.
45.
We had one called "Thanks to the Booze." We never heard the booze.
That was a good one.
Which song do you feel like? I mean, I feel like Cow Tippin' is one people want to hear a lot. Also, Shit Faced. I feel like Shit Faced is one of the ones.
pretty
that's like,
funny.
we expect you to play this
Well,
song.
it's a sing along. See, it's
Yeah.
it's my Mitch Miller moment. Where I
Yeah,
get these imbeciles to sing along with those moronic lyrics.
that's right.
Hey, that took me 10 minutes to write that, so
Really?
it's not like I just threw it together.
That's right. We had trouble picking out the two chords to use.
I left that to you, Paul. Paul is the king of two chords, by the way.
That's right.
Two Chords Paul, I heard they call him.
Oh, they call him quite a few things. That's one of
Yeah,
the
that's a
better-
crowd pleaser. That's sounds good recorded, but it's definitely better live
One
when
of the
people are
first-
singing along.
John Coltrane affected kazoo solos by artists.
Kazoo solos.
He plays
Oh.
it in the spirit of John Coltrane. It's just wonderful.
On the original yes, on the recorded version. Well, I used to play it live back then, and when we recorded it for second CD, I think, which was called
Yep.
Number 2.
Try
Well,
to get
the Beatles had the Beatles 1 out,
Yeah.
so we just kind of said, "Hey, we're inspired. We're going to have our second album's going to
It
be
was
called
a
Long
brown-
Sausages 2."
a wet-looking brown too.
But we like to call it Number 2.
I've seen it. It looks like
Number
like
2.
patches on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. What else is on that gem?
Who does design it? Like this one, obviously, it's got.
That
Guns
was
N'
done
Roses,
by Ralph
but-
Renna. Did that for us.
Really?
That one. Yep,
What about the 2 one?
I did that one.
Well, but who
I
was
thought it up. I
the
didn't do that was that guy that used to live on Fifth Avenue. That
what's his name? Tony, possibly?
yes, Tony.
Yeah,
And the
Um,
first one was
Scott Asbury.
Scott Asbury, who was a brilliant artist. He did a lot of our posters,
Yeah.
which are very expensive now.
Yes, he did a ton of live posters for us. Showed you those before.
Yeah,
We had.
yeah.
He used to do them. I don't think we realized how fortunate we were at the time. I mean, he did these really high quality, kind of different themed,
Have
kind of semi bizarre posters, but done very professionally. And he was a great artist. He passed a while back, unfortunately.
he was
And,
so good to us.
He
Is
was.
he the one that you have a photograph of him?
Yes, yes.
That's a great picture.
Isn't it?
I really like that.
Yeah.
That photo.
Very introspective. When he was like at
Yeah,
his
I
kitchen
thought-
table.
I thought it was somebody like world-renowned famous. It looked like Tom Waits or something
He-
to me, like at breakfast.
I
which
think
I'd love
he-
a photo of Tom
I
Waits.
think
at
he would have
breakfast.
been.
That would
Don't
be
you-
good.
I think he would have been world famous eventually.
Yeah, I mean, he did.
he was that good. He really was
Yeah, he did a
astounding.
an art. I guess I'll call it exhibition over. That was that place in Cohoes at the time.
Yeah,
and,
he did one at Borders too.
Yep, and I didn't realize. I mean, I knew he was talented, but he did lots of different media. One room there'd be a door with graffiti on it that was just done pretty wildly, and a lot of just regular framed pictures and just all sorts of different
He was a
stuff. And-
Bukowski freak too.
yeah, and
But we all are actually. We're
him
all
and his-
poetry freaks in the band.
him and his wife and kids
Really?
would
We
come
are.
to
Charlie's
come
a
to the
Beetle
shows.
Bailey fan.
They were
Charlie
big-
likes Beetle Bailey. We like Bukowski
Bailey.
and James Joyce. We all are avid readers actually.
We played New York
I
City
believe that.
once, and Scott and his family came down
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
us, which is cool. We played Hanson Dick
Manitobas.
Manitobas in the East Village, I
Yeah,
think that was, which
yeah.
is
We
now
played-
closed, I believe.
The Dictators played, then the Flush Tones, and then
Yes,
us.
the Flush Tones asked us to come down.
We
and,
actually did pretty good. We did pretty well for ourselves.
Handsome Dick was the lead singer in I guess you'd call one of the first punk bands, the Dictators, and had a bar.
So good.
I remember when I worked for you, you were listening to the Flesh Tones a lot.
Yes. We, gosh, they've been coming up here for years.
We
We're-
bonded with them immediately.
We're big fans. They were at our. They agreed to come up and play. We didn't know them at that point. You and Artie figured that out somehow. They came and played our first CD release party, which was
Oh, they were so good.
jam packed at Valentine's, and which we were pleasantly surprised. I mean, we thought we'd draw a good crowd, and we
The
should
Trailer
talk.
Park Debutante Ball.
And we should talk about that a little bit because Greg Hames, who unfortunately passed recently,
he had our back all the time.
and that's when print media was still real big. So either the Metroland or Preview in the Times Union was just huge because you didn't have, the internet, Google, et cetera.
It's still kind of a big deal to get on those guys because it's still a bandwidth limitation. They only have so much print space. They're not going to print. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot easier to get on somebody's blog or
That's true. That's true. And I guess you're right. Back then it was like, for me anyways, you'd have to either pick up the Metroland and or the Preview. Usually I'd pick up both and see that's how you found out what was, you might read some record reviews and see what bands were coming to play locally. And we got a big gift from Greg in the sense that not only did he give us a big feature for the show, but then remember they had the fashion section because we were calling it the Trailer Park Debutante Ball. They did a whole almost a 2-page spread in the preview
About
on
quirky
how
clothes.
to dress for the Trailer Park Debutante Ball, and we were blown away. We were like,
Two
that's a
women,
great article.
two women in wedding gowns were handcuffed to each other coming up the stairs. That's when I knew we had a show. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Sorry, look at that! Two attractive women handcuffed." Oh my God! That was
We've made it.
That was
We've
that
made
was
it.
a good sign we were doing something very, very wrong.
Yes. Yeah, that was a phenomenal show. And
Where was it?
at Valentine's.
Oh,
Yep.
man, Valentine's. I really missed that place. I saw some shows there
So
that
good.
like
Oh.
you'll never see. I saw a band there called Foxy Shazam,
Really?
and they were like a glam rock band. At a very, the lead singer had a really intense persona, and he was like climbing on the plumbing, and he ate a pack of cigarettes on stage. It's like, where do you go for something like that anymore today?
That is. That's.
But on the other
crazy.
end, like, I was thinking about this today because you guys were coming over. That one thing that unifies you guys both in my life is you both opened doors to music for me personally in different ways. You at the store, obviously, and you helped me pick records, and you started to realize what I was into and helped me figure it out.
You always try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're open to my I'm the type of person who I'm into this, and then
You're very-
suddenly like
You're like most of my customers. You're very enthusiastic.
yeah, but I'll completely shift and be like, now I want to listen to blues,
Yeah.
or now I want to listen to jazz, or
So
now I want to listen to
It's the same as food. You don't want to
Yeah.
eat the same meal every night. You
That's
want to mix
true.
it up. You want to mix it up.
exactly. But and then Paul he got me. I think you're probably the person who got me into Tom Waits, who now is
Really?
one of my favorite. You gave me a whole stack of CDs of Tom
Oh,
Waits.
did I really to borrow?
Yeah. No, they
pretty
were
wild.
they were
Pretty-
burned. You gave them to me.
Oh,
They were-
I burned them.
yeah, yeah. And I listened to him. Tom Waits, and also Mark Mulcahy was the other one that
Oh,
you
yes.
told
I
me
love
about.
Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've thought of that because Valentine's. He used to play there
Yes.
pretty regularly.
Yep.
What a band, Miracle
Yeah.
Legion.
Yeah,
Are
they
you
were great.
kidding?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of cool how we can all, grab different kinds of music from each other.
That's one of the things that I feel like is more mainstream now, for lack of a better word, than when I was in high school. And when I was in high school and college, it was pretty much you get your style of music and that's what you stick to. But I think streaming has kind of opened the door to sort of, well, if I can listen, I'm paying to listen to anything.
Yep.
I want to listen to something else. I want to
No,
Well,
you're right.
like share your playlist. It's kind of, instead of a mixtape, now you have your playlist. You put your playlist out there and share it on. Everybody wants to.
No, that's true. That part is pretty great.
That's
With me,
why-
the weird part is you used to have a certain amount of albums or CDs that you own, so you kind of
Yeah.
kept it to that. And now I kind of don't know what to listen to sometimes. But I was streaming yesterday, and it said, "Yeah, try this," and I knew a lot of the artists because it sees what you listen to. And
Yeah.
but like what Jim was saying, I guess what we're all saying is, you listen to different things depending on your mood and stuff. And so we'd throw like a country song and then like a standard song, and then maybe actually had Tom Waits with the Replacements doing "I'm Glad" or something crazy, which I on one of those outtakes from one of the recent
That's why I-
re-releases.
That's why I
they did.
still completely enjoy doing radio, because I get to do that every week, play music for people and turn them on to stuff, and it is
That's awesome.
exciting. It's exciting. I've been doing it for 53 years, and I am not bored
Yeah.
at all. I can't wait
You
to
did it
do.
at the store too.
Well, the stores where I get a lot of great ideas from customers.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. They'll come in and say. The other day, somebody said, a friend said, maybe about 3 weeks ago, guy said, "You've got to hear this." This guy Doug just moved up here. He said, "You've got to listen to St. James and the Disciples." And I said, "Okay." And I went rammy for him. And then I got the CD and I played it for Artie. He just booked them at the hangar. They're incredible. If anybody is looking for a band that's completely unique, go see them. They're outrageous, but that's how it happens. I get people from all over the place that travel a lot and have different, and I like everything. So somebody might say, "Oh, you got to hear Christy Moore from Ireland," or you got to hear this Roy Eldridge album they just put. I mean, it's constant, and they're usually right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah. You gave me an Elvis Presley album. You sold me an Elvis Presley album. It's one of my
I had
favorites.
to. The rent was due.
No, it was.
Who's sorry now?
I think it was a lot of this. A lot of the albums I've bought from you are things you're playing, listening to, because I hear it and I'm like, that's really interesting. I think this one was one of them, and I didn't realize it was Elvis.
Oh,
And you said it was very early, and he was kind of trying to figure out what his sound
the
was going
Sun
to be.
recordings.
Yeah.
Oh, they're incredible.
And I love
that's
it.
my favorite Elvis.
I listened to that a
Yeah,
lot. I
that's
love
great.
that album.
Raw,
Yeah.
rockabilly, right finding his way. That's the best
Yeah,
stuff.
because if you put that on, people won't immediately assume it's Elvis.
Not right away.
No, you got to
The
listen to it a
ballads,
little
the
bit.
ballads you do,
That's true.
but the rockers on there, man, he really cooked
Yeah,
on
that was
early
great stuff. That
And
all that
Scotty
early,
Moore and oh, what a band! Gee,
That's the kind of
a lot
stuff
of
that
great concert. Well, that whole rockabilly thing was. I have my favorites were two guys: Billy Lee Riley, who was on Sun,
Hmm.
and the other guy is Eddie Cochran. Those are my two favorites. But there's probably 50 great rockabilly artists that were just.
You also got me onto Ry Cooder for a while.
What a great
I
musician!
really like. Yeah.
What a player he is!
Yeah.
Oh, just gifted beyond gifted.
Yeah. It's one of the things it's hard to describe is when you get into a new musician. It's like one of the best feelings when somebody opens that door.
It's like cooking
And-
a brand new recipe,
Yeah, it is.
and
It's
it
like
comes
I've
out better than you
discovered-
thought. Better than you thought.
Yeah, or a Vietnamese restaurant opens in your town. And you've never had Vietnamese food before.
Yep.
It's like, oh my, I've got whole new taste buds I get to use on this.
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. There's a lot of different stuff. You're like, oh my gosh.
Well,
Like
our
you say,
band
Tom
is-
Waits. When I first heard some of that early '80s Tom Waits stuff, I was like, I couldn't believe that music existed. I'm like, where
Yeah.
did this come from? I go,
That's what it was. I took a film class and I watched a movie that Tom Waits was in, and I was like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
I like him. I like his voice.
Yeah.
And I
I used
mentioned,
to-
and you said, oh, he's got all this stuff. You should listen to.
I used to work at a place in the winter called One Way Records in Latham. It was the distributor who supplied all the Just the Songs. And my friend Fred Bernard, who at the time was doing Kaleidoscope with me, said, you want a job for the winter? Because I had kids. I said, sure. And I couldn't get unemployment because I owned the business. So I said, sure. So I worked over at the warehouse, and he came over on a Thursday. He goes, hey, would you like to make $75 tomorrow night? I go, yeah, what have I got to do? He goes, Bonnie Raitt's birthday at the Palace, and we have to keep an eye on Tom Waits. I go, Tom Waits, is that the guy that does old 55? He goes, yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. So I get down there at 5 o'clock, and they tell me and Freddie to keep an eye on him. We're going to go over to McGreevy's. Is that the name of it? McGarry's.
McGarry's, yeah.
So we go over there, and he's got that crazy hat on. He was very nice. Not a big person, pretty average size. But he goes in, and he had that commanding presence. He had that persona. Jeez, everybody's buying him drinks. They're going, Tom, Rod, Tom, oh, and they're buying him, and he's bombed. And about 10 after 7, one of the guys runs over and he's yelling at me, and Freddie goes, come on. He's on at 8 o'clock for 40 minutes. You got to get him back there. Now he's laughing. He's dropping shots. In front of him looked like, it looked like a restaurant in front of him. There's bottles, and he'd drank it and they'd give him.
There's a picture of Tom Waits, Meryl Streep, and
Yeah, it's in my store.
yeah,
From that movie.
right in front of
Yeah,
they're on
Ironweed.
River Street.
Ironweed.
Yeah,
Well, he proceeded to go back. We got him over to the Palace somehow, to the Proctors, rather. No, Palace in Albany. Forgetting where I am. And we get him backstage, and he goes into his room, and he says, I'll be right out. And you hear all this coughing and hacking. Well, he was putting his makeup on a little bit. Then he comes out with his guitar and thanked us, and they tell us, get him to the stage. we walked out, and I swear to God, I couldn't believe it. He fell in the orchestra pit. And it was about 10 feet. And he hit the ladder going down. His exact words, I'll never forget, he goes, thank God I'm drunk. I wouldn't have made it. And he went out and did the most gorgeous set you could imagine.
yeah.
But he was a peculiar.
Actually, there's a lyric about what we're talking about. It's a popular song, the Christmas Card from a Hooker in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
Where
it's a nice song.
she's talking about if she had all the money, she'd buy a used car lot and drive a different car every day. That's my favorite line in that song.
All
It's the
his
same
lines,
type of thing. It's
he's
like
a great writer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's had some great stories,
my
especially the
favorite-
early songs were really
My favorite album is
story-like,
Nighthawks. I love Nighthawks.
Yeah. That's a great album.
a lot of people I know my age around Mule Variations is just an important album to them. It's just a.
Yeah, what is that about?
I
I mean, I like it too, but
It's-
you're right though.
it's.
That's the most requested
I don't know.
one. I get asked all the
Yeah.
time.
There's a song called like "This Old House" or something like that.
Oh, that's
on there.
right,
That's
yeah.
a great song. There was one that was, I think probably one of the songs was sung on The Walking Dead from that album. That might be why.
Yeah,
I don't know though. But
Gotcha.
probably.
it's just, it's one that we all seem to really like and connect with in a weird way.
Anything in film is going to have a carryover.
Yeah, that's true.
Always good.
Hmm.
We almost made a movie once too.
What was it?
We
gonna
got
be? You ever make a music video? You guys should make a
Oh
music
yeah,
video.
we did. Well, they weren't meant to be, but they were. We got a phone call once from a friend of ours, Scott Anderson, who used to be a partner in Tommy Boy Records in New York that had all the rap stuff. And he had sold out, and he was living in Bennington, Vermont. And he called me up and said, "Hey, Jim, a friend of mine that makes these slasher movies in Germany, and he needs somebody to do a soundtrack really quick." And I said, "Yeah." He's already got the name of the movie, and if you want, I'll help you put a single out. So he said, "Are you kidding?" He goes, "No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding." So we proceeded to record a song called, and this was the name of the movie, Schizophrenic Lesbian Vampire Psychologist.
Psychiatrist.
So me and Artie and Paul and a friend of ours, Al Spain, who was out of the band now, but was
Pure, what was
one
it?
of our integral,
Pure
Pure
poke
Poke.
sausage?
yeah. So Al and I, we came up with the riff, and Paul got the rest
Can I
of the
join
riff
the
down.
band and be called Kielbasa?
Sure you can.
Yeah, we don't have a kielbasa.
We don't
yeah.
have a kielbasa.
No.
No, nobody in the band's got a kielbasa. There's some, we're going nowhere quick with this. So he contracts the guy to make this soundtrack, make the single, and to send him a cassette of what would be used in the movie. So we went into our cellar at this place we rented on across from the atrium, and we got bottles. They had ladders. I rented electronic drums. We got all kinds of congas and a million weird instruments.
I think we did some of that at the Love Fungus Lounge too.
Yes, we.
That
yeah.
was the
Well,
performing
we-
space in back of their.
We wrote the
second
single, and the
story.
flip was Paul sang the single. It was called "White Noise and Noise," and the A side was Schizophrenic.
yeah,
Actually,
lesbian.
it was pretty good.
Hmm.
And
We'll play it live every so often. We don't play it
Yeah.
a lot
Well,
anymore.
Wait, schizophrenic lesbian, right?
yeah, we put it out, and it did really well. We had a multicolored, different,
Yeah, that's
200
pretty cool.
different sleeves.
There was some. It's an old 45 with the big old hole in the middle, and there was some colored vinyl. There's white colored vinyl.
Really?
Yeah,
Sells for like $35 online now. Honest to God.
Wow.
Honest to God.
and
And Get Hip Records distributed it. And that year we got reviewed by Mustafa. Well, it was Jello Biafra in Maximum Rock and Roll.
which was a fanzine, like a punk fanzine out in L.A. So it's like, well, it could have been California. Let's say that.
And we were his #1 single of the year.
And I think
Really?
that Hudson Valley magazine downstate reviewed that too.
Oh my God.
We got 2 positive reviews for that.
We also had a big award one time. We wrote this song. None of us
What'd you
really
win an award
smoked.
for?
Well, a lot of us didn't smoke, but we were getting tired of all these things you couldn't do. You couldn't ride a motorcycle without a helmet, and you had to be buttoned up in your car, and probably all for the best, but we just felt like complaining. So Joe Bruno came out with the cigarette ban. So we wrote,
Smoke this.
"Smoke
Joe
this,
Bruno.
Joe Bruno."
That did get some publicity.
Got a lot. Well, anyway.
Of course, that was many
Did you ever
songs.
respond to it?
That song was initially called "Bend Over, Bo Diddley,"
It went through a few.
which turned into "Go Home, Dave Grandow." That's when the
Yeah.
political stuff started.
and we got
Then
our
it
money's
became-
worth out of the
That's
riff.
so
Then it became.
if it were today, Joe Bruno would have a Twitter, and he definitely would have responded to that song.
Oh, we responded all right, not to our benefit. Well, anyway,
I feel
Fred
like
Dicker-
he would have benefited from just playing part of the
Yeah.
joke, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
well, Fred Dicker, who worked for the Post in New York, and he worked for local radio, it was a very popular political show. He put a half-page thing in the Post in New York saying that this song was the best protest song he'd heard in years. And we loved it. We were laughing our heads off. And that record, that year at the Edinburgh, Scotland Protest Hall of Fame, came in second behind Ricky Lee Jones and ahead of Bob Dylan.
what?
Or I think it was called "The Political Song," whatever. I think at
You
one
guys
point I
beat
could.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
Well, possibly.
he's rusty. We're new.
To be fair,
I know we're
his shows aren't.
I
that
know. I
fun to go
remember
to
looking.
anymore.
I remember looking it up. It was. I don't know if it was the political.
It was in the
protest,
Times Union,
Political. Oh yes.
an article
It
about
was.
how the hell did the lawn sausages win this award?
So we're included. I don't know if that's still. Yeah, it was in Glasgow or something. Political protest song.
I think it was Edinburgh.
And yeah, one of those places.
In
Yeah.
Scotland.
But I remember looking it up at one point to make sure. I'm like, yeah, because it was in the Times Union. One
I was
of those
amazed.
music articles at the end of the year, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
That's
political.
hilarious.
So we're protest heroes. Of
Yes.
sorts.
I don't want to like ruin the image or anything, but I don't feel like you guys wrote it as a protest song. Am I wrong?
No, we have other protest
I
songs.
guess we did, right? I mean,
No, we did write it as a protest.
Really?
Well, the lyrics were they say Uncle Joe used to smoke a couple packs a day, but now that he's a senator, he's got the nerve to say, you can't smoke in
Okay.
restaurants, you can't smoke in bars.
I get you.
That was it.
yeah. Well, that's
At the
the
time,
smoking
probably,
ban
yeah.
was huge because it.
Yeah.
Everybody
smoked.
resonated with it.
Everybody smoked in bars, you know. So
Yeah. That's one of the things that like
not everybody.
I've
liked it.
never there's never been smoking in a building I've been in since I've been alive. And when there was a smoking section in a restaurant.
Gotcha.
So I've never been in a smoky bar. And then I went to a smoky bar because apparently if there's an event that's about smoking, you're allowed to do it.
Oh, really?
So I went to a cigar night thing.
Oh, good God.
And I was like, no wonder they made this illegal. This is
Oh, it's
awful."
crazy.
But I can imagine
you're-
at the time, like, we're going to lose all sorts of customers.
Yep.
Everybody smokes in here. We can't.
And I never smoked, but you know,
I didn't either.
but you know, you come home on a Friday night when you're young, you know, in your 20s or
Oh,
whatever.
the smell.
I mean, so next morning you're smelling your hair, your clothes. You're like everything was just saturated with smoke.
I didn't know that. My brother lived in Nashville, and he told me that because
Yeah.
it's legal there. He's like, you think you want smoking in bars, but he goes, every time I go out, I have to wash my clothes.
Oh yeah,
because
Oh,
You reek of,
Oh,
of
yeah.
of
Oh, yeah.
tobacco,
yeah.
nicotine.
yep.
That's something that changed since you guys.
That's right.
Reeking?
No, we still reek at times, don't we? Oh, it makes me think. So we used to.
There's a step.
So we used to kind of end up having a collective bag of performing clothes because sometimes you'd be like, maybe we'll use this again.
Mm.
Well, the problem is we would just throw them in the thing after,
they
like
were a little unsavory.
like a
After sweating
plastic,
up a
yeah,
show.
a plastic bag, big old leaf plastic
Oh,
bag,
God.
and you just throw it in. And one time we like opened it up, we're like, oh, that was a bad idea.
Oh my God.
That was a different kind of reeking.
Up on stage sweating like crazy, and you just throw these rubber masks and stuff. Oh my
Exactly
Yeah, that
what
was-
we did.
For some reason, it worked for a while. Then at one point, it definitely didn't.
God.
You know, it was pretty. I can still remember it. I'm like, oh boy, we're not going to be using those anytime ever again.
When did you tell your now wife that you were in the lawn sausages?
Well, the funny thing is, so, when the band started, I wasn't married, but we were dating, either engaged or almost engaged, and I don't know. She happened to know Jimmy growing up also, so I don't know.
You guys are a Troy band.
Oh, yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure, yeah. Majority of Troy members, and definitely wasn't
That's our
always
base.
be
That's our base.
wasn't always will be a Troy thing. I guess it was always that Troy attitude, you know. In a way, you know, went to
little
RPI
flake.
for school. Troy was always kind of just bashed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was always like, yeah, it's I always loved it. I mean, you know, it has good points and bad points. I'm like, hey, this is my hometown, and it's even back in the
Your
80s and
attitude
90s.
won out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, everyone else finally figured out it was a cool place to hang out.
Sure it
you know?
is. Sure it
Um,
is.
So it's always been a big part of our identity. You know.
There is a Troy spirit. I don't know what it is. It's a
Humor.
little bit of a
It's humor and it's music.
yeah.
Troy's always been. We used to have the Strip.
Mm.
There was over 20-something bars that had bands every Friday and Saturday. It was crazy fun. Bands from all over New York and Boston all the time.
That was what, more like the 60s
Yeah.
and 70s, or
Nah, it kind of petered out around 70. Whatever year the 18 thing changed, it died to death.
that was
That was the end of that.
The what?
when they changed it from 18 to 21, the
drinking
drinking
age.
age.
Oh,
That was
It
mid
totally
'80s
killed
because
it.
I was caught up in that. So
Prior to that, it was the 60s where thousands of people downtown Troy, in and out of the bars with plastic cups.
some
It was
went there
fun.
by mistake because they were drinking so much.
Oh, and they would always bring you home,
Yeah.
the cabs. You just had to tell them what pub you were in last, and they'd write it down. They'd bring you home.
when did you open the beat shop?
91.
91. So right around the same time.
Yeah.
So you went through all sorts of things for the city of Troy. Just all changes. I feel like the 90s.
I don't like to participate.
Yeah.
I like to encourage,
Okay.
but I'm not a joiner. Like
Mm.
when they do some of these things that they're going to do, I know they're not going to do them.
Mm.
So as I've gotten older, I tend to avoid them.
Yeah.
I encourage people to do it, but I'm not doing it because I've been kicked around a little bit.
I can imagine.
Running a store in a neighborhood where we didn't get any support at all.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
And
they've
then,
been very unfair. Very.
has it changed in the past 5
Yes.
years?
Well, no, but it did change this year.
This year.
The farmers market finally agreed to come down to our corner, and it made a significant difference in all our businesses.
Mm-hmm.
But that should have
It
been
doesn't
going on right
make
along.
sense not to.
No.
You have to block off the road anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing year, and I thank the gentleman Steve, who's he's the executive director of the bid,
It's been
not
good
the
too.
bid, excuse me, farmers market.
Yeah, they added the
He did a
second
nice job.
stage. There's 2 stages at
Yeah,
the farmers
yeah.
market now, and a lot of my friends are musicians, and they've all
Well,
been moving
he-
to Troy, and it's
He
it's
made
a,
a
nice
lot of
thing.
friends this year because he kept his word.
Yeah, they all play a lot of them play weddings too, and it's the perfect thing. It's like I can go to the farmers market, play for a couple hours, go home, get dressed,
Yeah,
go to a wedding, play the wedding.
Yeah.
Got 2 gigs in a day.
yeah. Oh no, it's and you hand out your card. A lot of times you'll get people to hire for parties another day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hand out your gear, hand out your information. It's
Yeah.
always beneficial.
Yeah, the city's been great to a lot of people recently, but yeah, it's a.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's
overall,
evolving.
it's been a great city always. But yeah, there's always,
I think we could say the
Push and
people
pull,
of
and
Troy
Jim
have
would-
been great forever. The
Jim
city,
would know more.
It's been there's always been something about the city that's called to me, for lack of a
Oh.
better phrase.
I'll never move. I absolutely love the city. I've raised all my kids here. I have no regrets at all. Great educational system up in Lansingburg and Catholic High. I've had so
When I was
many
in
good
my-
experiences.
When I was in college and right after, it was the antiques district.
Yep.
The River Street was all antique stores.
Yeah.
And I used to go and check them out because I like old stuff, like that old beer can. And then it morphed. And then I found myself and everybody I was hanging out with just wanting to go to Troy
Yeah.
all the time. And I just was like, I have to live here. This is where I have to live.
Where were you from?
Like North Greenwich to Freesville. So not far. I
But
remember.
just, you wanted to move in town.
Yeah. And I wanted to live in the downtown. And I think that was my favorite place I think I ever lived.
Yeah.
Was downtown Troy. It's
a lot of fun.
It's a great time.
You can have a wonderful time.
I never wanted to leave.
Yeah.
When I got home from work on Friday, I did not plan on driving.
Right. Could just walk to wherever you want to
Yeah.
go. That's a real plus if you're young and want to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Not get hurt. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, what do you say, guys?
Well, I've had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a wonderful time.
This
You
is
should come
great.
back and do it again sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Thanks for all the stories.
well, thank you for having us on, and I hope your audience enjoys.
I hope that they listen to Muff Diver.
That's not a good way to end it. I'd like to remind them that January 25th, starting at 5 p.m.,
Mhm.
we're at the Hangar, and the band on opening is killer. They're called Knock Yourself Out from Brooklyn. They are really good.
Knock yourself out.
It's our 30th, and we have some surprises.
I bet you do.
And we have many surprises that night. A lot of original members are going to be playing a song or so,
That's great.
and it's going to be fun.
I'm putting a request in now. It won't be heard if you don't play it, but for whacking away my tears.
Oh, you can be sure that's in there. Because most of the people that will be coming to that show have done a lot of